the mentorship coordinator. So before I just remember something. So it's not a formal session for me to say. So what I remembered is like you are in the UN Maps, and you were in the mentorship program as a coordinator, and I was there in the starting phase. And yeah, everything that I learned was from you. So it's really I'm really happy that you are in the UN Maps, and I am like coordinating the mentorship program learned from you. So hello everyone. I see many new faces, as well as I also see some of the friends that I've already known directly or indirectly. I'm Gorak from Kathmandu, Nepal, and I've been contributing to a mapping community for about 6 years and plus. And about the mentorship program and the UN maps, what I feel is uh, the platform this we are getting is something that we need. Uh, this is a platform where we connect our ideas, what we do for the humanity, and help people who are in disaster or maybe some of the conflict areas right now. So in the mentorship program, what we are doing is like teaming up the people and making them work on a legacy project so as to benefit their communication with one another, and to learn about how open data and open mapping can help assist in humanitarian aids too. So, representing a hot mentorship team, I'm really happy to be here. Um, and I feel like this program is way too much because Arnali and the team is trying to connect all the open mapping people together at this every last Friday they are organizing this event, and it is a way to connect each other and to know more about one another people, to know about the ongoing projects, to know more about what are the advances that we have been doing in the community field. So yeah, thank you so much for inviting us. And thank you, Arnali, for your constant support, personally for me and for the open community. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Yeah, Gorak. You've been a volunteer for the Hot Community Working Group mentorship. So is that is really great what you are doing, connecting people, raising leaders, and also giving a platform for those professionals to also share what they learned and also share their skills with young people. And yeah, UN Mappers are very happy to support this wonderful initiative with HOT. Thank you so much. So just a little introduction. So I know some of you, there's lots of familiar faces here who have heard this introduction over and over again. So before I start in the chat, I shared the mapping projects that we will be mapping today. So for mapping, we'll be mapping Beled. We have two features that we can map. So one project for village and barriers, and then one for the roads. And then for those who are validators here, please help us validate Seal Korof. So I also put there in the chat villages and barriers, and also roads. So later, if you're not familiar mapping villages and barriers and also roads, my colleague Mikel will be giving some tips and tricks or reminders, trainings, how to map those roads. But for now, bear with me as I do this introduction for those who are newcomers here. Um, what is a Mappy Hour? Welcome to our Mappy Hour. As the name suggests, it is an online um, hour of hanging out where we map and also talk about maps data, projects, and the open community. And yeah, I'd like to introduce to you the UN Mappers as the UN Mappers. And since you've joined here, we are also happy to welcome you in the UN Mappers community. So the UN Mappers community, we're an open mapping enthusiast and community dedicated to build accurate and crowdwork geospatial data to support peacekeeping missions and humanitarian support on the ground. So we have our community channel on Discord, which yeah you can see in the chat, and I'll share it later in the chat. So more information on the community page of our website. But yeah, before we go there, I'd like to also talk about UN Maps, because yeah, UN Mappers are helping the UN Maps program provide and enrich topographic maps and operational geoinformation for search and navigation tools, as well as imagery and street level base map to support the United Nations peacekeeping missions and humanitarian efforts on the ground. So through this initiative, we help countries torn by conflict to create necessary conditions for lasting peace. So currently, right now, we are supporting three missions: the UN Support Office in Somalia, which are the mapping projects we will be mapping today. We're also supporting UMIS, or the UN mission in South Sudan, and then the UN Multidimensional Integrated Stabilization Mission in the Central African Republic, or MINUSCA. So you might ask, yeah, who are the UN mappers? Yeah, UN mappers is diverse, or yeah, diverse set of individuals from remote volunteers, us, and then yeah, the local communities, GIS community, and yeah, people from academia, even our uniformed personnel on the ground. And yeah, where are these UN maps used? So yeah, these UN maps, everything that is generate the data generated of the UN mappers from OpenStreetMap, we upload it in our UN Maps apps and tools, which helps our uniformed personnel or our field missions to for their patrolling, groundwater exploration, also of course security, and then yeah, doing logistics, humanitarian relief, and planning. So yeah, how do UN mappers contribute to UN maps? I believe yeah, most of you are well aware of this. Yeah, we use like the tasking manager, a crowdsourced mapping tool. Yeah, so that everyone can map and also our project be organized. And then yeah, we do the crowd mapping there, and after the mapping, we do professional validation and also validators from the community, so that yeah, we will be able to produce high quality data that is usable for UN map services, and then yeah, and benefits the local communities. So yeah, how do you become a UN mapper? In just simple three steps or three ways: you learn, map, and join. So first, yeah, you can learn by going to a mapathon, uh, attending or participating here in the UN Mappers training. And we also have, if you are new to OpenStreetMap or looking to expand your skills in OpenStreetMap or QGIS, we have the UN Maps Learning Hub. Currently, we have three courses available for the public. So the OSM Basics, OSM Advanced, and QGIS training, all available for public. And yeah, after you learn, of course, yeah, you can start mapping, doing some mapping with your community, and yeah, also attending Mappy Hour. And yeah, if you want your community, you want to invite us for a mapathon or a mapping party, yeah, kindly let us know. And yeah, after you learn map, yeah, you've been or you have joined the community. As mentioned earlier, we have a UN Mappers Discord server or Discord channel. You can join us. We are also in all social media that you will know: Facebook, LinkedIn, even Mastodon, and Blue Sky. So yeah, keep posted there, so I mean, you stay updated for everything that happens in UN Maps and the UN Mappers. So yeah, just sharing some of our current activities. So yeah, we are UN mappers. As mentioned earlier, we map for peacekeeping missions and humanitarian relief operations of the UN. We also recognize very our volunteer, or yeah, our mappers of the month, yeah, who did exceptional mapping, or even yeah, train people to promote open data. So yeah, last, I think, yeah, this was last month. Yeah, we have Kennedy, I think he is here. So yeah, we also yeah, recognize our mappers. And in the past, or this year, we also held community discussion or co-creation for the UN Maps Ambassadors Program. So some update about this, that is that yeah, we have the open call for UN Maps ambassadors through the UN Volunteers platform. We also already interviewed our UN Maps ambassadors, and yeah, we're just waiting for the commencement. So yeah, we apologize if it's been taking so long to push through this, but yeah, we hope by next year, yeah, we do have our UN Maps ambassadors, UN volunteers in place. And yeah, more information about UN Maps and UN Mappers on our website, maps.un.org. And yeah, as I've shared in the chat, we are mapping in Beled, Somalia. So yeah, there's two projects open. For those who are fairly new beginners, I suggest you do the villages and barriers, which yeah, Mikkel will be sharing some information later. And then yeah, you can also, those who want to expand their knowledge, or practicing on the roads, yeah, you can also do the road project. And yeah, again, for those who are validators already, yeah, kindly help us validating 34625 and 34626. This is also villages and barriers, and then roads, but yeah, in CL Korof. So yeah, with that, if there's any question, please, yeah, kindly raise your hand while I um, uh, welcome my colleagues here, uh, Mikkel, to provide us some training or demonstration on mapping villages and barriers and roads uh, in Somalia. Any questions so far?
There was one question from Oman to add him on in the validation team for UN Mappers, and I added you right now, so you should be able to validate projects. For whoever wants to validate and has the experience to validate OSM data, just feel free to share with me your OpenStreetMap user. Okay, so I guess we can start if there are no questions for Annali. Um, I mean, in the previous sessions, the previous Mappy hours, we have another comment in the chat. So we have a comment from Haider in Iraq, from Iraq. So he's a contributor to HOT and participating to the Open Mapping Center for Latin America and the Caribbean. And so the question is, what is the best way to become more involved in UN mapping projects or verification activities? And is it possible to open a branch in Iraq? I don't know, Arnali, if you want to answer this, or I can go ahead.
You can go ahead.
Okay, okay.
I share bad the connect internet from Iraq. I so sorry, but I writing the chat. Okay,
Okay, okay, okay. Yes, we
but
have
I
been.
need excuse me. I need the hub in Iraq. The Iraq is not found. Middle East, Iraq, Kuwait.
You mean
Okay.
this is for hot?
Yes.
Okay, we are not I mean, hot is not belonging like to the UN as a project. It's just like a collaboration. But yes, you should reach out to the humanitarian OpenStreetMap team managers, or yeah, I guess Arnali can share with you contacts from there. And
Excuse, sorry. Excuse me. Write me to the chat.
okay, okay,
Excuse me. Okay.
okay, perfect.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Regarding yeah, the mapping, I can share my screen right now. Well, let me share. Let me share my screen.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. So I was adding here the people in the validation team. The two projects that we are going to map today are those that Arnali wrote in the chat. So I will go for the mapping. And maybe what I can do is to share with you how to map those features. I will be using JOSM because I see JOSM is interesting for the participants lately. So if you want to download JOSM, that is the Java OpenStreetMap editor. It's a specific software to edit on OpenStreetMap and allows you to use shortcuts and plugins. You can just access this website, josm.openstreetmap.de/wiki/download. Well, you just Google on Google JOSM and you will reach this page. And you can download the option that works for you. We saw that for iOS, for iOS, there is like the specific download link for iOS, but for all the rest, I mean, WebStart should work fine. This is just the software that I'm going to use, but the feature extraction will be always the same. So taking one project, actually I was already mapping here in the 34623, the area of Beled Amin, villages and barriers. So this is what we suggest to beginners because it's about mapping polygon features. So that is easier than the rest, like easier than mapping roads. And I was selecting this area. So this is the task that I'm going to contribute to. And I was also luckily finding some barriers. So to map those barriers, what we have to do is to enclose with a line, we can map all the barrier. And usually what we do is to first of all, focus on the barriers that are closed. So those that are resembling polygons because they are actually enclosing some area. So in this case, we have a barrier that is made out of vegetation. So is a barrier equal to hedge, is a vegetation barrier made by shrubs and vegetation. And it's used by nomadic people to delimitate the territory. So in this case, you see there is a farmland here because I can see some regular stripes on the ground. So this means that the area is currently cultivated. And usually we also do not map the internal delimitations of the barrier. So I'm just focusing on the overall border. So usually what I'm going to map is something like this, like a polygon enclosing all the barrier and with the barrier equal to edge tag. In the ID editor, it will have the name of the presets, but that is mostly what we do, and in this project. So if you want later on to see how we can map it, in ID editor, I can show it. But I suppose that by now, like most of you have already like a big experience in OSM editing, especially if you have been doing the hot mentorship program. So I'm just showing you how I would map some of those barriers. So this is again delimiting a big farmland area. So what I'm doing is to really delimit everywhere I can see a barrier. So you see, at the end of the day, I end up with a polygon. And the polygon, I don't map the things inside, because we are just interested in delimiting the most part of the territory. Obviously, on OSM, we can map those delimitation in a further way. So, for example, we can add additional lines. But you know, like for the peacekeeping missions, the priority is just to know which areas are enclosed. So that is what we are going to edit now. You don't have obviously to be 100%. I mean, perfect in the geometry. You can also be a bit loose. And that is mostly what we do on this project. Another feature that we are mapping, it's villages, like for example this one. If we are mapping villages, what we do is to do basically the same as we do with barriers, but we have basically to enclose in a polygon all the buildings. So we see some buildings in this village, and what we do to map the land cover, so the residential area, is to enclose all the area in which we can expect to see people hanging around. So that is enclosing all the buildings that we have inside. Obviously, I mean, it can be, I mean, there is like, this is very subjective because we're speaking about land use and land cover. So I guess somebody can map it like a different geometry. That is not important. The important is to delimit the area that in which we can expect people to be living. And the tag that we applied in this case is land use equal to residential. And you see the area is now rendered with white. And it is the way we map villages. So this is like the main way to delimit the territory. Another thing that we could do ideally is to put in the center of the polygon of the land use residential. We can put a node, and the node we can specify, let's say, the entity. So how big is the village? So how many households we can expect this village to be inhabited. So this village is a hamlet category that is usually around 10 households or less. So it's a very small village. And it has also some very basic facilities, like, for example, indeed, with those farmlands that we see around. So probably, I mean, this is a village of farmers. And that is the tag that I would use, hamlet. And I put, I mean, even if you don't put this tag, is not important, because this is mainly used for to apply toponymy. So usually when you apply to those nodes with place hamlet, you also apply the name, and the name gets rendered on the OpenStreetMap base map. So when you navigate the map, you see the names, and those names are associated to places. But for our goals, the most important thing is that you trace the land use residential. So just whenever you see a village or a small settlement, to put this polygon. And also try not to over extract those polygons. So like map only when you see, like in this case, very clearly many buildings that are close one to each other. Okay, then here I can continue for a lot of time because I have so many barriers. Usually one thing that I do is to map barriers also when they are crossing my task boundary, because in this way, people that are using JOSM, they can download the data and they will download what I did. So it's just like unless we are not duplicating the job, like unless the other mapper on the other side is mapping the same feature as well, we are not duplicating the features. But it's best like to have a duplicated feature rather than having none, in case it is important. Well, here it's a big one. Can decide to split maybe in smaller chunks. Oop. Well, then maybe I can make an error. I can delete or move the nodes that I trace. As you noticed, I'm not applying tags because with JOSM, I usually apply them at the end. So like in this case, I'm mapping only barriers because that is like my specific task for now. Here they are losing a little bit. Okay, I will map this one. Maybe this one as well. So usually I ensure that if I'm mapping barriers, like those barriers are, they should be connected somehow. So just, let me just do a little bit the geometries here. Okay, and then let me finish maybe with this one. So barriers, they don't have to be mandatorily polygons. They can be also lines. So some of them are open. And it is totally fine to map barriers that are open ways. So like in this case would be barrier equal to edge. And it's totally doable. It's just like not very interesting for the job that we do. Obviously, as we are mapping big areas, we have like a very strong focus on over extraction. So we try not to map things that are like not relevant or like things that are duplicated. So we usually try to select only the most important features. I guess it's fine that I'm using JOSM today because like in the previous sessions, I saw there was a very strong interest in JOSM. In this case, what I'm using is the fast draw plugin. So I do Shift F, and this allows me to either click and put nodes for lines and polygons, or also to drag the mouse. So I can click once and I drag the mouse to draw. Now I'm just moving the mouse and creating the line as I move the mouse. And the fast draw plugin is also automatically simplifying the nodes that have been traced, so that we are not adding like too many nodes that are unnecessary to OSM. Okay, so just let me finish those small ones. So would be something like this. This is a big one, actually. Should have gone on the other side here. I can make it for later. Well, I will just keep it open, maybe. Yeah.
Mikhail, there's questions from Gregory in the chat.
Okay. Yes.
So first one is, are you interested in small breaks in the hedge wide enough for people and perhaps livestock to move through?
It depends. Like usually, I map them open. Only well, if they are open, okay. But usually we should be careful when there are roads that are crossing barriers. So in that case, I'm opening the barriers as well. So I'm mapping them as two open lines. Because it's also throwing errors when I map those features, because the road is crossing the barrier, so that is not true. Because usually, I mean, the road is either going through a gate, so I should map the intersection node as a gate, or another thing is just to cut the barrier. That is usually what I do, because those barriers don't have gates many times, and I just keep it open. So I don't know if I can see an example here, maybe. Let me check. There are no, like all those barriers are fully closed, but it happens like, okay, this is like a very small case. Like you see, this one is open because the road is entering the barrier and we can see the trace. So in case this road is very important and it is mapped, I usually map the barrier, like opening it. So let's say that I mapped it like this. So usually what I do is to create a couple of nodes close to the segment. I split and I remove the segment that is in the middle, so that the road is passing through without intersections. This is, yes, what I do, but only if there is a road already existing and that road is important. Otherwise, I just leave it there. I don't know if this answered your question.
There's another question from Gregory too. Some hedges appear intermittent. Are they in the scope of these projects?
Yeah, I wouldn't map those that are barely visible anymore, because those barriers, they are not maintained, so they are like slowly going back to nature, so they are disappearing, and so I usually don't map those that are like barely visible, because we can expect that in the next satellite image those will be gone completely. So usually I don't map those. Okay, I will say for my project I mapped the ones that I had. So in QGIS, sorry, QGIS, sorry, in JOSM, I can select what I did. So in this case, I mapped ways that are closed and also new and untagged. You see that I'm selecting all the things that I just mapped right now, and I can apply the barrier equal to edge in one click. So all those barriers are now tagged. And additionally, I have also mapped the village. So this was the perfect task for this session because everything was included. Then I submit my chain set. There is a warning from JOSM. JOSM is telling you whenever you map things that are mistagged. So in this case, the place tag doesn't have a name because as I was telling you, like place is mainly for the toponymy, so to assign names to villages. But in case of humanitarian mapping in Africa, what we mostly do is to map those places anyway, because they are a good indicator of the number of the entity of the village that we are mapping. So it's just not only the residential area, but it's also a small indication about the services present in the area. So we typically keep it. So that is just what we have been doing for several years in humanitarian mapping. I mean, not only the UN mappers, but like any other field mapping activity. So I upload the chain set. So the chain set is now on OSM. And then I can say that the task is completely mapped on the tasking manager. So this is the usual process to map barriers and villages in our projects. I guess most of you know it already because some of you are attending our UN Mappers events since a long time. So this is like most probably a repetition. Arnalit, are there any questions?
Yes. Hi from Douglas. Hi, Mikkel. Does UN Maps work in pre or post-election peacekeeping missions across the globe and or Africa, for example, in Tanzania or Uganda?
So we are mostly, as of now, because the point is that the UN maps and the UN mappers, it's like a program by the logistic base of the UN. So our focus is to support the peacekeeping and special political missions in Africa. But we are looking forward to expand the activities, especially with UN agencies. So there are some UN agencies that are also operating in other countries outside of the peacekeeping. So in that case, yes, that is also our idea that we had basically with the UN Mappers ambassadors. So we wanted to expand a little bit the activities outside the peacekeeping mission areas. So we are going to have like mapping projects that are outside the usual countries. So I mean, this is like with the main goal to engage with OSM mappers and local communities outside of the usual places. So yes, we are going to have some activities, but not that much. At the end of the day, like most of our job is like mapping in Somalia, Central African Republic, Democratic Republic of the Congo. We mapped in Yemen, in Abyei, between Sudan and South Sudan, and in Mali. So those are more or less the areas in which we contribute. Lately, mostly Somalia, by the way.
Okay.
Thank you, Arlan.
Gregory has a question. Is it okay if open way barriers are not mapped in a task?
I didn't get the question, sorry.
The question is it okay if open way barriers are not mapped in a task? If
Yes,
concern.
it's fine. I mean, unless those are uh, yeah, like cutting roads, for example. So they are like acting as a barriers of the road. I would say that it's fine not to map them. So usually, I mean, we tend to map only when features are relevant, like closed barriers, most of the times. And yeah, the only case in which I will map open way barrier will be, yes, when it crosses a road or it's like delimiting following a road, for example, those kind of things. Okay. Just waiting, Arnali, if there is any other question. Otherwise, I can maybe show a little bit how we map roads.
Sure. Yeah, no questions so far. Yeah, we have 10 minutes before the top of the hour.
Okay, 10 minutes. Perfect. Okay, so we'll just switch on another project. So usually for roads, I tend to use JOSM because I basically I cannot use I'm not able to use ID editor when mapping roads because if in ID editor you have to zoom in a lot to be able to modify data in OSM. And it is something that ideally we shouldn't do when mapping roads, because when we map roads, it's very important to understand the hierarchy of the road in the road network. So the tags are applied to roads depending on the role that the road is having in the road network. So usually when we are mapping the roads at the country level, we are mapping highways, primary, secondary, and tertiary, because those are like literally the main roads of the country. And then we are going down below in the hierarchy to unclassified roads. Unclassified roads are those roads that are connecting villages in our case. So if we see two villages that are connected, so maybe in this, no, sorry. Yes, in this case we have, well, this was a village, it's not anymore. I don't know if I can find an example because it seems to be like a very, very rural area. But anyway, I guess you can spot from satellite, you see those very straight lines. So those very straight lines, most probably they go from one village to the other most of the times. And those are typically unclassified roads. So they are like main connectors between villages. Like for example, you see, I followed it, and magically I'm in a very big. Well, this is actually a town because it's huge. There are many buildings. And so typically, if I follow those connectors, I should reach more, sooner or later, like other villages. This is like the most clear example. I can find maybe other examples with smaller areas. So, for example, here I spotted a village on the river here, and here there is another one. So let me just understand the roads here. So yeah, I mean, this one, we can see roads that are going through those barriers and connecting villages. So those will be unclassified. Despite the road is passing through agricultural areas, those will be unclassified roads because they are connecting villages. So that is like more or less the explanation of unclassified roads. And then like the vast majority of roads that we are mapping, especially in Africa, are tracks. So tracks is highway equal to track. Those are like highways going to agricultural and forestry areas. They also another characteristic of the track highway is that those are motorized. So you are even if they are unpaved, they are passable by cars, motorbikes, and other vehicles. So you can go through it with vehicles. We do have another tag that is highway equal to path, that is the very same definition as the track. So going to agricultural and forestry areas, but they are not motorized. So you can only go through them by feet, so by walking. Good. So maybe I can just spend my last minutes to just to modify some geometries JOSM. So for example, I see here we have a road that is attached to a barrier. So this is like actually a big error, because usually we should try to keep features separated. Sorry, just 1 second. I have to answer my. Sorry, usual spam spam calls from the phone. I was just saying the nodes of highways and barriers should be detached because they are two separate features. Like if we are mapping roads, it's very important to connect one road with each other for topology, because routing algorithms, I mean, they need the roads to be connected one with each other. But in case of barriers that are like mostly related to, yeah, I would say kind of land cover, because it's delimiting the territory. In this case, we should keep them separate because they are separate features. In OSM, we don't have like layers, so as you know, so we should try to keep features separate as much as we can, in case they are really not supposed to be connected. There are the cases in which barriers, for example, roads are entering barriers, but as I explained, I would rather break the barrier and let the road pass through it. Or in case there is a gate, I can map the intersection, like in this case, I would map it with the gate tag that I don't remember. Could be entrance. No, I don't remember exactly the tag. Let's see in the presets. Although, I mean, 100% of the time you won't find the gates, also because they are actually barely visible from satellite imagery. So I just wouldn't map in this detail from satellite imagery in general.
Mikhail, there's a question from Gregory in the chat. Is there is there a JOSM filter to select for barriers overlapping highways which do not share nodes?
Yes. So to add overlapping, this is a good question. I think there was something, but I'm not completely sure. So there is some functionality to join overlapping polygons. So there is like let's say that we have a building, for example, and then we have another building that is overlapping, but it's actually the same building. So if you select both, it's like minus J. Yes, Mayusk, or like yeah, Shift J. It's joining overlapping polygons. So this is something that can be done, but is for polygons. For filtering, I'm not sure. Let me search again here. You can find features that share nodes. That is for sure. So, for example, you see those nodes belong both to highways and barriers. In this case, especially this one and this one. So, if I want to find those overlapping ones, I can search for nodes that are usually untagged, because the nodes themselves they don't have any tag. And then I can use parent and children relationships. So those nodes belong to ways. and those ways are tagged. So I can say child of highway, and then they are also child of barrier. And you see that I'm selecting all the nodes that are crossing both barriers and highways, so exactly those three. So ideally, I can also do like mass validation, like delete, but this will be breaking many geometries, so I usually keep those. But yes, I can unglue them and then just modify the geometries myself. But to find roads that are overlapping, I'm not sure. And
Yeah,
yes,
Gregory
yes.
has a comment. I suppose there is select intersecting data via the selection menu, but you'd still have to find the point of intersect.
Okay. Select ways. So there is all inside, that is something, but is not what we want. All intersecting ways, those are, yes, this could work. So yes, this could work because this one is selecting all the ways that are intersecting. So in OpenStreetMap, the data, I mean, if you go to check the data model, there are no polygons. It's only ways. Ways can be closed or open. So we usually refer to open ways for lines and closed ways for polygons. Indeed, if we search here, we have lines that can be, I mean, ways that can be type way closed or minus closed instead of polygon. So this is selecting all the intersecting ways. What we should do here is go to the search functionality in JOSM and then find in this selection whoever is a highway or barrier. And this could give us well, in this case, they are all highways and barriers, but yeah, this gives us what we search for. So if we do have like many ways that also are not barriers and highways, this filter finding selection highway or barrier will only select the highways and barriers that are overlapping. So yes, this will be the way to do it. Just I didn't remember about this tab because I'm not using it often, but yes, selection, these intersecting ways or all intersecting ways could work. So we learned something new today, as always.
Right. And yeah, it's actually 2 minutes past the hour. So this is a Mappy hour. So we only have 1 hour. But yeah, thank you for extending time. Any last questions, comments? I just have one comment because I was validating the CL Korov, and yeah, I saw one mapper was mapping the roads as hedges. So yeah, just to remind everyone that yeah, if it's a hedge, we're mapping it as a line. But yeah, it's not a road because yeah, we're mapping the walls of of an area. But yeah, it needs to be mapped as a wall, as sorry, as a line. But yeah, it's not a road. So yeah. Thank you so much. Any last comment from you, Mikkel? Last tips and tricks?
No, actually, I invite you like to map on those projects if you have time. And I was very happy for, I mean, for you to be joining us today. Um, so let's see if we can do some more mapping on those projects.
Yeah.
Thank
So
you.
even after the Mappy hour, yeah, feel free to to contribute if you have time this week or this weekend. And yeah, if you are also celebrating the holidays, yeah, happy holidays to everyone. And yeah, we don't have a scheduled Mappy hour yet for next year, but yeah, we surely will let you know. I shared our website as well as our Discord server, and yeah, follow us on social media to stay updated about UN Maps, because yeah, we are we'll be doing some interesting sessions next year, cooking something great for the community, some trainings. All right. So yeah, if you are happy, let me just stop the recording. And yeah, if you're happy to turn off